This is Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast.
Did you guys see this? This is unbelievable. What is that all about, Kinger?
Get in here for the real thing.
Like, let's get weird.
Maybe I blacked out trying to figure out what was going on.
Doubt, worry, fear, because that's what we're breaking the mold on here.
Welcome to Wild on 7th, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
And welcome back to Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast, presented by our friends at Pilot Games. Make sure that when you're out having a good time, you grab one of the tablets, play their games. When you do, not only do you have a chance to put some extra dough in your pocket during the holiday season, but your community wins too.
So much winning.
Yeah, so actually around town there is so much winning right now.
There sure is.
Are you the type of family that at Christmas they like get the bowl game tickets, or you do any kind of fun stuff like that? Like
I tried. Our goalie sells them. Now he'll probably go to jail. But I, sorry, buddy. But he didn't have any for Christmas. He only has like another.
You mean like your men's league goalie?
Yeah.
So what night of the week is this again?
Specific. Let's not get super specific. But yeah, I've bought those tickets. That's fun. And to just give them as a gift is the best. Each of the kids has one. Yeah. It's a reason to watch the football game.
I remember my grandparents used to always just give me, like, it was folded up, just like a little tab, like tan paper, thick.
Yep.
And you'd have to rip like a color that was wrapped around it in paper. You'd rip that open and expose like a score.
That's still how it is. And don't sleep on the fact that even if you didn't win any of the quarters, you still have the bonus one. Add up all the numbers on the side, and you can still win. This is how the Mafia started, you know. They called it running numbers. And that's, so when you buy, what do they call them now? They have a more friendly term for it. It's like buying a card or something like that. But it was running numbers. That's what it was. They sold those same things you're talking about in like the 50s and 60s in neighborhoods. And now it's like.
It makes sense because my grandpa would always be like, hey, like, he'd have no clue what we were getting for Christmas, but he'd swing through and just give you like one of these and give you a look like, there you go, buddy. You know, like.
I just love that it still exists. Like, where is this beer league goalie going to get like the cards from or whatever?
It's a meat raffle. He's going to a meat raffle, and they hand these cards out. Don't you think? And where does the money go?
I don't know. Charity, I think, most of it. Well, hey, how are you? You know, we had Govember. December has been quite kind to us as well. I am clean shaven today, unfortunately.
This is 2 in a row. I noticed that last week too.
Well, no, I only shave when we don't get a point.
But last week I
had to for a shoot, so that but it didn't disrupt the team. Just to be clear, I had to shave because I was on camera for something. But then they proceeded to go 5-0 Washington, 5-2 Columbus, 5-2 Edmonton. So I don't feel guilty.
Hey, we're not judged. Our character isn't judged on how we are when things are going well. It's when things aren't going well. Like, you have to stick. I mean,
I know I should have done it, but is it
even real? If you.
Here was the problem. My tooth had also fallen out, so I didn't think it would be great. I didn't think it would be great to like have a CVS glued-in tooth that was 2 inches long and then be like just not shaving for like 7 days
and do veneered
and do a bunch of have the neck beard. What did you call it? The no tee, or what was it called?
Throw tee.
The throw tee. Yeah, I don't think Minnesota hockey would have been thrilled by that, but. So where do you want to start? Because we had all this, there's recency bias when you do the podcast, because you could be totally fixated on the fact that we lost to Colorado yesterday. But meanwhile, we scored 15 goals and our opponent scored 4 in the 3 games before that. We were handing out beatdowns. The Russian line is put together, all of these good things. But I don't know. How do you want to start?
Well, yeah, I mean, we can go back. The Wild just snapped a 6-game winning streak. Well, Colorado did, I suppose. But, yeah, you beat Seattle 4-1, Dallas 5-2, and then they came home, played Ottawa, beat them 3-2, Boston 6-2, Washington 5-0, Columbus 5-2, Edmonton 5-2. Yeah, like the Wild were firing on all cylinders. They continue to get good goaltending.
Yeah, they do. Oh, God. Even yesterday, Wally is Velcro. His rebound control, like when you're in the building, it makes me feel so safe. Like, I don't need a weighted blanket. I don't need any of that stuff. That dude is sticky. Those pucks stay real close to his body.
Lots of pine tar.
Yeah, it's awesome. George Brett levels of pine tar. But, yeah, the goaltending has been good.
Offense has been good. And the
Start-
big guys have been good. And
Let's start
let's
on
not forget they won a lot of those games without, there was up to like 6 guys out.
Yeah. And then they all came back, right? They all came back for the Edmonton game. But we're starting to get some depth scoring. Hartsey is wide awake. The Russian line, we should talk about this, right? We've united Yurov. Tarasenko's having a rebirth. By the way, when he scores and he gets to the end of the bench and he blows a kiss, I believe, to the family section, that's awesome. That's a veteran move. So look for that on your broadcast. But and then Trenin, who we pronounce Trenyan. This bothers me. Can we just make it Trenin? It's so much easier for hockey fans.
I agree.
We should talk
But
to
it's
him about
Trenyan.
that.
Yeah.
I know, but the guy who's going to have 400 hits is not going to pronounce his name Trenyan. It's Trenin. Trenin sounds more like a truck than Trenyan.
Agreed.
It bothers all Wild fans. I'm just saying. So you should just start calling him Trenin. You have the opportunity. And if he comes up to you and says something, just be like, this is what the people want.
Yeah, we're just giving what they want.
But it's not my name. But it sounds better. But yeah, so that line, why did that work? You took a fourth line checker, you took a first line center and brought him down, and then you brought, a guy who started out the year really hot, kind of went cold, and now all of a sudden it's he might as well be playing for the Blues. The way Tarasenko looks, he's skating faster. So what was the magic on the Russian line?
Yeah, there's a couple things. That line was built out of necessity. I don't think Hines was like, man, I really think that this group's going to have a bunch of
He was
chemistry.
looking for it.
They were just down a bunch of bodies, and he's like, this is what we're going to go with.
At least they can talk to each other.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it clicked. And the reason I think Tarasenko is popping, believe it or not, right now, is he's the star again. So he's the alpha on that line.
Telling everybody what to do. Yeah, I'm here. He's a chatterbox on the bench.
Yeah, get the puck here, do this, do that. And he knows that he's got to probably lug the mail, make the play. Like he made the play on the, what was that? The Edmonton, that might have been the go-ahead goal where it was he and Trenton that kind of assisted on it. He ends up getting like his own rebound kind of.
Him and Trenton?
Yeah.
Or Trenton?
Trenton.
Okay, you stick to the plan. All right. Yeah, no, he's been, I do think you're right about that superstar thing, Karts, because.
Well, he's the stud. He's the alpha on the line now.
What was it? Was it on your broadcast? They said, you guys talking a lot of Russian, and Yurov said, well, every time I get to the bench, he tells me exactly where to be so he can get a pass better.
Well, so there was the face-off goal. If you remember the face-off goal Tarasenko scored earlier in the week, Tarasenko, the camera caught Yurov like pointing behind him a little bit.
Yep.
And Tarasenko kind of looked around, and if you watch it again, he's like, no.
I told you this.
So somebody went in after and said, hey,
Danila, I told you this.
Was Yurov kind of directing traffic, letting you know where to be, where he's going to win this face-off? Because that was obviously a talker. Trenton had, at one point, he was like bottom of the barrel face-off percentage in the NHL for guys that had taken a minimum of like 100 draws. But he's climbed himself out of that. So him winning face-offs is a big deal, and getting ozone start face-offs is a big deal too. So it was, wow, look at the step he's taking. He's directing traffic. He knows where he's going to win it based on the opposition. And then Tarasenko goes, no. I told him where I was going to be and where to win it back to me.
I was actually yelling at him.
I was directing the traffic.
Well, hey, you know what?
Which is so great. But
hey, we're fine with you being a star, Vladdy.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. Like,
blow some kisses.
All of a sudden, he's not like on Kirill's line. He's not on Boldy's line. He's not on their power play. It's Vladdy's the star right now, and I think he's playing better because of it. There has to be some element of him being healthy and coming back.
His skating is better.
And I've said that on this podcast probably a half a dozen times. There are veteran guys, Matt Zuccarello's in the mix there too, that come back after skating with Andy Ness, and they look faster. They've got more pop. Tarasenko falls under that category. But if you just look at the pieces there, you have Trenyon, who is he is like a freight train, straight line, boom.
I love him.
And he's on top of the defense faster than just about anybody else in the NHL. So he creates more loose pucks than anybody. And then Yurov does a good job being probably second. He's actually really, and I don't mean this by saying he's actually, like, he's not good at other things, but he's good offensively at finding, like, quiet space where a puck might find him. And he's got, I think that's where he generates his offense. It's not really like with the puck beating people one-on-one. It's just finding good ice, quiet ice, and then being able to make a play out of that.
He's going to be a nice player.
Yeah, and then Tarasenko, the guy wants to score, so he brings the puck to the net, and it's worked. So, and with that, I think we have to talk about Ryan-Hartman starting to pop too, and some of that is because these are unintended consequences and things that they're happening for Hines, probably because he's not afraid to make a tough call. Like, let's keep this line together. Hartman now is between Zuccarello and Kaprizov, and he's playing empowered hockey. And Hartman's getting that chance because Yurov, Tarasenko, and Trenyon were so good that he's not going to break up that group. So now all of a sudden we're the Wild. We're looking, where am I going to get the secondary scoring? Maybe they found it. And over the course of the last week, they've put up 5 goals on 4 different occasions. This is a good problem to have.
It is. And by the way, shout out to Ryan Hartman. This guy, so yesterday I was in the building for the Colorado game. I thought the crowd was exceedingly nervous. It was packed, but you could hear a pin drop in there. They were just waiting to see if it was going to be okay versus making it okay. I mean, it was a weird environment. Ryan Hartman, from the puck drop, was in people's faces.
Yeah.
Somebody's always doing something to him, so he's saying something, or I don't know what's happening that's making them all. He's pointing at his face for blood. He's going to be better when the stakes are higher. When you walk into that gladiator arena, the guy he thrives on it. Because yesterday felt like a playoff game, and we know what Ryan Hartman does in the playoffs, and I just love the rat element. I love that when he goes down and it's a power play for us, and he's like almost like in the fetal position, but he's tough, right? He's just so. It's everything I like in a hockey.
You seen that LeBron meme where he goes down on the floor and he's like covering his face, but then like his face goes straight and he looks for the call, he gets the call.
But now to be fair, he got cross-checked in the face. I'm not saying he's a diver. I'm just saying he is so savvy. Because even Marcus tries to do the same thing. So in the building, we're down 2-0. He's going to get a penalty. He's trying to drag someone into the fight with him. He's cross-checking. The guy who cross-checked Hartman, as I understand it, is the guy he's going after. And it just worked out completely the opposite because, he was trying so hard to kind of get the penalty back, and we end up getting the double minor. But, Hartsy's he's silky on that.
I was on the broadcast, and it was early on, I mentioned Hartman seems like he's in agitator mode.
Oh, my God.
And then it was just a handful of minutes later, he draws this power play. But what he's good at is knowing how to get the referee's attention on him or on his battle, and then knowing the moment he can get somebody upset and get them kind of undisciplined and striking, and then going down.
And
we have to call a spade a spade.
He
knows
down.
when to go down.
And by the way, he gets the benefit of the call. You think of Dennis Rodman in the NBA, at some point the refs stopped being nice to him. Hartman knows how to do this. He does get the calls.
He gets the guys to actually retaliate. Now that cross-check from Drury, benign. But it did get high.
It hit him in the face.
And it did kiss his cheek.
It definitely didn't hurt him.
It wasn't. There was 0.1% chance that was going to be a double minor because it barely kissed him in the chin.
But he's biting his lip on the way down.
He went down, hard and heavy.
He might have tried to hit his nose on the ice if he could get some blood out. But the other thing that I love about watching him is having had him on. I mean, Hartman was on the podcast before the Wild even picked up the podcast, right? And he agitates with positivity. I mean, I think that's the funniest way to troll people, to be like, hey, I think you could for sure be a third liner at some point in this league. Like if you work on your face-offs, and then they just snap, or like the goalie stuff. Hey, stay in it. You're better than this. I know you're going to put it together. Stay in it. And then they just, like Binnington runs out of the crease and two-hands him. That is an amazing way to troll people.
We had him on camera, too, just going back and forth from 100 feet away with Drury. It was so good.
What was he saying, or you can't repeat it? Could you read lips?
You could read lips. I think it was an invitation to fight. Oh, we're going to fight. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been in full Hartman mode.
Doing Hartsy things.
This is what's crazy about this guy is when he's doing Hartsy things, he
scores more.
He scores.
He's almost up to 10 goals, right? So all of a sudden you can get 20 from this guy.
Yeah, he scores more.
25.
And then all of a sudden you just have to, and I think he's doing a better job of managing it too. So he scores more, he agitates, he gets to the power play. And I think what teammates really start to appreciate is like that in that situation in the game, the Wild were down and he drew a power play for the top group to go out there.
Yeah.
And he's not going to get an assist if the power play scores in that situation, but he deserves one. Like he went out there and it's not premeditated, but with the thought in mind that if I can get my club to the power play, we've got such a great power play, I'm doing my job.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that scored 34 goals, right? I mean, he's a player, and he gets better when things feel uncomfortable, even for the Minnesota fan base. I think Ryan Hartman thrives in those moments.
So I think we need to talk about the weekend because I think it was a sneaky important weekend. And I started to mention this on the broadcast as well, that getting the bodies back was great timing because I think you got Edmonton, who had been playing great hockey. Connor McDavid had 22 points in his previous 6 games, whatever it was. Like the guy was on fire. And Edmonton was buzzing. They had got their goaltender. Now he has since gotten hurt,
which is amazing.
Yeah, and then it's Colorado coming to town. 2 regulation losses in the first 35 games of the year. Hey, Wild, you guys are good. You've won 6 in a row. This is a cool story. You traded for Quinn Hughes. It's exciting, but what actually are you? And getting the bodies back on Saturday for Edmonton gave Hines and Billy and everybody an idea of what the Wild probably are. And for them to beat Edmonton the way they did, I thought was kind of a statement. And I thought, now they do lose to Colorado. And Colorado did look like they probably had, they were better. They were better. I just don't know how much stock the Wild or Billy or Hines should put into that game too. Something to just think about. It was the 4th game in 6 nights for the Wild, 2nd of back-to-back, emotional game Saturday. And I think where you could take positives from it, there were portions of that game where the Wild had Colorado on their heels. And it probably proved to me that the Wild can compete, not only can, but probably give a little bit of a scare to Colorado, a team that has 2 regulation losses through the first 35 games.
One of them to us, right?
No, that wasn't regulation.
Overtime.
That was overtime.
I want to ask you the same question I threw out to my group text after the game yesterday. Was that just a tired group coming off of a high? You're going to lose a game once in a while. We basically haven't been doing that for 2 months. Or if you're Billy, are you watching that going, okay, this is the heavyweight class. We need to do more to really have a chance to win the cup. Because I heard, it was funny, my buddies was split down the middle. Half of them said kind of what you just said. You know what? You just beat Connor McDavid the day before. It's back-to-back. Colorado comes in with a chip on their shoulder trying to prove they're better than us. And then the other guys were like, you know what? It showed we're a little slow. Some of our best players aren't the fastest skaters. We probably need one forward. We need one more move to really have a chance to be all the way. What's your take?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Maybe don't put too much stock into one singular game. I thought there were stretches of the game where
third period we looked good. I mean, that was fun. The start of the third when they were playing.
When they were buzzing, like right out of the gates, they win that faceoff, they run a play, the Wild do. Boldy almost gets one. And so another reason I don't think you should put too much stock into that game. Who was better, Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes?
It was Cale Makar. And that his shot, by the way, is terrifying.
Yeah, and it actually wasn't very close. Cale Makar was just flat out better. But that's not an indictment on Quinn Hughes. I think Quinn Hughes still has to figure out where he fits. So go back and watch games where the Wild play against Quinn Hughes in Vancouver. It's a Quinn Hughes show.
He knew exactly where he fit.
Yeah, he knew where he fit, and he wasn't afraid to take the game over. I think that there's still some, like, this isn't my show yet in Quinn Hughes' game, even though it's there to be taken from him. And Faber's waiting for him to do it. Spurgeon, Brodin, like everybody, even the forwards, they're waiting. And it's not like they're sitting waiting around doing nothing. I don't want that to be misconstrued. They understand the talent that the guy is. And I think Hughes just doesn't want to come in and be like, hey, guess who's in town, Quinn Hughes, and then have it be about him. But once he starts to be comfortable and running things like Cale Makar, that game that we saw Sunday probably looks a lot different. The Wild all of a sudden probably look a lot faster than they did. Now, I'll agree with your buddies that Colorado had more team speed than the Wild did, and Jared Bednar has that team skating. And they've got good hands, and they were able to connect passes, even on like chip plays out of the zone. It's like chip on the tape, 2-speed, gone. They were just fast across the board. And Wild maybe don't play that way.
There's a little bit of a half-court element to us where some of our stars would prefer to have it slow down in the zone.
Right.
And we're just playing east to west, tic-tac-toe passing versus that horse race. I mean, McDavid gallops for 60 minutes. I mean, so it's a very high-tempo game. I do, on your Hughes point, I really thought in the third period he came out and was like, if you were coaching against Colorado, I think if I were coaching, I would say, play this game like we're losing 2-0. Because that's how you beat Colorado. You have to play over speed. You have to be you really have to be going for it. I think maybe that's wrong based on how our team is structured, but I thought the third was the best we looked because they were playing with more desperation. The defense was activating. Hughes was all over at the start of the third. He was like behind the net, passing the puck. He can get so much space with his skating, and if he can just get pucks to the net, Eriksson Ek's going to be playing, whack-a-mole, hungry hippo, right? And just put it in. But I don't know. The other thing I'm worried about is if you make more trades. First of all, I don't know who you trade, and second of all, I do think this team has real chemistry. Like we just did a dramatic thing. You sent some guys away that were close to the team. Now you've added Quinn. He's figuring out. I think there's an element where you're a little bit polite when you walk into a new room, and then eventually you figure out exactly where you fit. But I don't know how much change you want to throw, right? Or let alone who you would even trade. I don't know what that would look like, but I'm kind of with you. It's one game. We've been on a heater for like 7 weeks, so, whatever.
Well, no, I do think the Wild can take some things from it, that Colorado had more team speed. They can learn from it, but I do think that the score still probably looks different. They just dive into the stat sheet, and I was talking earlier about Urov and his faceoffs, and he had gotten better, but you all of a sudden go against Colorado where you probably need to win the faceoff battle to have a territorial advantage against a really good team. Like, this is when that starts to matter. He was 2-10, 17%, and against a different team, he's 10-2. And Colorado just was better in some of these little areas. But yeah, I don't think the Wild are done making moves. I also just don't think you should put too much stock into just one game. We'll see when we go out to Denver again where they match up. But also discuss this on the broadcast. It's frustrating and it's not at the same time because it's the way it is, and you don't want to be like poor me. But for the Wild, it was 20. Remember actually when I was playing here, 2014, it was the Wild were a good team, but they had to get through Chicago every single time, and they just weren't better than Chicago. The Central right now is that way. And Colorado, I think, is probably feeling it right now, too, because they're a good team. And they're like, well, every year we've got to get through Dallas just to get to the playoffs. And Dallas has had their number. So the Central right now, if it had finished, or if it finishes like it is right now, where the top 3 teams in the NHL are all in the Central.
Crazy.
No, that's ridiculous.
And that's the playoff format sucks, man. I don't know what the rivalry issue was. I don't know if Boston and Montreal lost a little of its spice for 10 years, so they came up with this ridiculous format. 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6. Like, why was this?
Yeah.
This is the right. You earn your seeding through an 82-game regular season. Your fan base, your company, your franchise deserves to have a path to the playoffs. As it stands now, we would play Dallas, correct? Mm-hmm. It's 2-3. That's brutal.
Yeah, and then you might be the 3rd best team. Let's say you're the second. Well, they're the 2nd best team in the NHL, 2nd highest points in the Central, behind Colorado. You know who they're playing in the 2nd round?
Colorado.
Yeah. So if you finish 2nd in the Central, you're playing the 3rd best team in the NHL in the 1st round, and then you're playing the best team in the 2nd round.
Oh, that's great.
You know, like it. Not poor me. But
and you should be playing like
it is frustrating.
Utah, right? Or like, I mean, it's not cool. I don't know how it still exists. This must be something they talk about.
Yeah, it is, and some of it is good. So being in the Central, even on the East Coast, I think we've talked about this on the podcast in the past. The travel, because the East never leaves the East time zone in the playoffs until the final.
Yeah.
So to have it be in your division. The Central's like they're not really going to leave the Central. Maybe that's part of it too. Is the travel's easier in playoffs, but you know you do have to go to the Pacific if you're playing a wild card team and this and that. So it's not perfect, but it does help travel a little bit. It does help with rivalries and different things like that. So there are positives to it, but for me the big negative is if one division has a handful of really good teams. That's kind of what you're battling for.
The counterpoint that I heard a lot of people saying this weekend was, you got to play everybody anyway.
No, you don't.
Well, but that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, because if they get knocked out by the 8th seed, yeah, geez, Hey, whoever told me that, you're an idiot. Ryan Carter is right, but you don't have to play everybody. You don't have to beat everybody,
right?
Because it's a gauntlet.
Yeah.
And so they might get...
And different matchups are challenging for different teams. Edmonton, we were talking to their radio crew. They don't get to the final last year if they have to go through Colorado. Colorado was their kryptonite.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to face...
Carolina, Florida.
They didn't have to face Colorado because Colorado had played Dallas.
Yep.
So Edmonton was deathly afraid of having to play Colorado. They thought they would have been run out of the building. They didn't have to. All the way to the West Final and into the Stanley Cup Final, based on not having to play a team.
Yeah, so let's change the playoff format. I think Gary listens, doesn't he, Bettman?
I think so. Big fan on the show.
Yeah, he loves it. Hey, as we approach holiday week, which is your favorite holiday, the ODR, I assume, is in great shape. The drinking water, like how is the household, how is the Carter family coming together?
Yeah, everything's great. Yeah, the rink is crystal clear. We used the even the water from the softener out there, so it looks nice and clear. But yeah, if you are in any way need of good water, clean water, whether you're frustrated from stains on your dishes, the shower is never fully clean, your hair doesn't lather good with the soap because it's just mineralized hard water. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you like clean ice out of the refrigerator, the ice machine, yeah, call our friends at Aquarius Home Services. They've got great discounts this time of year on their water treatment systems. You can get a free water analysis. So make sure you schedule your appointment now, AquariusHomeservices.com. Great stuff, Kinger. How about you? You are now getting ready to eat for the holidays?
Yeah, I think, we'll be at my folks' house. I would say if you're entertaining, don't sleep on bringing a cheese ball People like a cheese ball. You could get some Ritz crackers. You could surprise everybody with a couple sleeves of Oreos. Maybe get some Fireball apple. It's kind of still exciting and new. Some of the liquor stores do have that. So go there, whether it's preparing your whole meal or bringing some appetizers. These are our people. These people are riding the roller coaster of Minnesota sports because they're a local brand. Shop happy at Cub. I got more stuff. So, by the way, our guest today, we're going to hear from Jack Jablonski, an icon in the state of hockey. He's going to be our state of hockey correspondent. But staying on the Wild, can we talk Kirill for a minute? I think when you go to a game in person, you see the play differently. And so what I notice about Kirill is he is working so hard. That's what I feel like when I watch. So if you were like a GM or a coach, you would say, this guy cares. He's working his ass off. He's chasing guys around the rink. He wants it. He wants it bad. But I think usually when Kirill is at his happiest, he doesn't look like he's working, right? And I almost feel like he's on an island, like he's not connected. Like it's like I see him, but it doesn't feel like he has anybody with him. He's not connected. In the past, that's been Zuki at the start of the year, but I don't know if he's an F1 and he's like he's ending up being the checking guy and he's almost playing center half the game. Or obviously he has a bunch of points. He's a superstar. We love Kirill, but I think if you were to ask him, I think he would say he's a little frustrated. He's he doesn't feel like it's all clicking for him. And so I just wanted to see if you feel the same thing and why is that? It's like he doesn't. I really do feel like he's on an island, right? Boldy's got this line, this Jojo Eck line. That's a real line we've had for a long time. Now the Russians are coming together with this little threesome. And Kirill's kind of like, his line mates are changing all the time. It just feels a little off.
I don't disagree. And it was interesting after the first period yesterday, he led all Wild players in hits.
I know. That's the other thing. He's hitting.
It's not something I've seen before, but it does remind me of
because he's frustrated.
The playoff series against Vegas, not last year, but the previous one, where he was with Zuccarello, and I was talking about it then that the numbers and stuff were tough because he's the kind of guy that can go to the corner and win the battle. He's the guy that can peel it out and get it to somebody in space. But if Kirill's the guy that has to do that, Kirill's not the guy getting the puck.
Exactly.
So that's where he's at right now. And I think it illustrates like a willingness and a desire to want to win and some coachability to him because he's going to do what coaches want, what's desired. Like he's watching the same film as everybody else. And if coach says we need a better forward one, Kirill will do it.
Yeah.
But
should he be doing it?
Yeah. And I think he is working through some things right now, trying to figure it out. Like we've mentioned this already and he's been scoring, but maybe he's not liked the way that he's played because they've been empty nets and he's just not felt that he's played great lately. But it was in Calgary, black tape on the stick in pregame skate saying, I need to change something up. I haven't been scoring. It's the haircut. You kind of look at it, and there have been a few of these things that players do to try to just, quote, switch it up in his game. And I think he's trying to find it. He will find it.
The compliment to him is, so everyone would say Matt Boldy's playing the best hockey of his career. I mean, people are in love with it. He's got 43 points. Kirill has 42, right? I mean, it's like you understand what gears this guy has, what a level he can play at, Kirill, and Matt. Matt's doing great too, but
and some of it might be, and Heinz has put them together, and maybe Kirill wants to play with that guy. And I don't know, I don't want to overanalyze too much, but let's go back. I'm going to go back because I do think that this is a factor. This has to be a factor. One way or another, this is a factor. I don't think the fan base understands how big of a deal it was that the Wild traded for Quinn Hughes. Let's put this into perspective of other sports. This is the Vikings trading for Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Okay, this is the Timberwolves.
Or Joe Burrow.
This is
maybe.
the Timberwolves trading for Giannis. I don't know. It is
Disruptive.
not only that, it is a monster trade. Imagine what it would be like in the locker room for the Vikings if they had traded for Aaron Rodgers in his prime. It's going to take time to figure it out. Like it was a monster trade. This is the type of trade that will be talked about probably for decades, right? Depending on how things shake out. You never get a top player at their position traded mid-season. I'm not saying it's like the Gretzky trade, but it probably is. Like, you have one of the game's absolute best in their prime being dealt. So it's a big deal.
It reminds me a lot of when people would ask me, when that trade went down, I got texts from people that weren't huge hockey fans, and they're saying, what is this like? And I would use the Micah Parsons got traded from the Cowboys to the Packers. Now, he's not a quarterback, so I understand your point about offense, but he was like basically the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
He's in his prime. He gets traded to the Packers. They're immediately a contender. They already were. And he started slow. Like, if you looked at Micah on Green Bay at the start of the year, he really took a while to figure it out. And then he just started killing everyone, and then he got hurt.
That's similar, but different.
I know, because he doesn't have his hand on the steering wheel. He does on the defensive side of the.
But also, that's not a team game defensively.
Yeah,
like
he can get his without having the other guys connected.
That's his job.
Yeah,
right. But and that's also not affecting the other side of the ball. And maybe it is. Maybe it gets the other team the ball, whatever. And I might just be naive talking about this because I don't understand football like I do hockey. But I think the point is, it's a big deal, and it's a big deal in the locker room. And there's a lot of mouths to feed all of a sudden. Like, think of the power play alone. Like, whose power play is that?
Yeah.
It typically, like...
Well, right now, it's kind of no one's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't mean that in a super negative way. But when I watch them, it feels like everybody's deferring to each other, and they're trying to figure it out still, where somebody just has to grab a hold of it and say, this is mine.
Yeah. And who could do that? Kirill's in the bumper. He got a power play goal the other day.
It needs
but Bumper's not the guy. Bumper's not the guy that controls the power play.
Needs to be Quinn.
Yeah. And then now, like, and this is how it affects Kirill in the rest of his game. Now, he's not getting the puck touches that he maybe was, as he's the bumper in the power play, so he's the guy that gets the finish. He's not getting the flank play. He's not getting the one-timers. He's, the puck touches. The game's not slowing down for him. Everything changes. And these things are all things that are going to eventually be figured out, but I think it's just going to take a little bit of time. And is Kirill fighting it right now? And I'll say this, too, his version of fighting it is better than most people's best.
Yeah, he's like the third leading goal scorer in the league.
Better than most people's best fighting it. But I think it is probably fair to say that a little bit. It's just going to take a little time for this locker room to sort itself out, and it's not a negative thing. It's a terribly positive thing. It just is going to take some time, I think.
What he needs is Kirill needs a guy with a great motor that is just a savage on pucks and gets them for Kirill. If we had a fast forward that all he wanted to do, it's almost like a golden retriever.
Well,
right?
They do Trenyon.
So you're saying
Trenyon.
Put Trenyon with Kirill?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying they have it.
I'm thinking of someone, I don't know how fast Trenyon is, but he needs just an animal whose entire existence is just giving the puck to Kirill and getting it off the walls. F1, get it off the walls and get it to 97 and let 97 be 97. I don't think he's ever had that since he's been here. It's assuming that's a center. I mean, that's what it would be, right? I mean, because you're playing the full 200 feet. You're the ones going to get it. He's a wing. I feel like he's ending up playing center a lot of the time. Maybe because...
Well, center's job offensively isn't necessarily forward one. That's probably more a winger.
He's playing a lot of F1. I feel like he's on the walls a lot. If I could pick a stat magically to make happen, I would say Kirill leading the team in checks is not one I need to see very often. Thank you for being tough and being a winner. But Kirill having 7 shots, I think you've shown this on the broadcast before. It's like if Kirill has 6 or more shots, the Wild never lose the game. Ever.
And that's attempts. But
Yeah, attempts. That's all we need is if he's in a position where he's staring at the net and shooting, that is much better than trading paint on the walls for this guy.
And Kirill quietly had 6 attempts yesterday against Colorado. 3 on net, 3 that missed. Boldy, who has been playing great, he had 8. You know, but and it's also, again, this is a good problem for the Wild to have. Kirill's maybe fighting through it, whatever it might be right now. And the Wild have won 6 in a row. Yeah,
no, it's good. It's good. I feel like he needs a playmate. I mean, that's what I see is he needs a line. He needs to be like, this is my group. You know, just like you said. You know,
I mean, he has Zuki.
I know, but maybe they need one more guy with those 3. Maybe it's Hartman. Maybe they're going to go back to their old days of 3-4 years ago. I don't know.
Maybe he just needs consistency. Just give me somebody.
Yeah, let us work on this for at least 5 games in a row before you change it. Because he does get jerked around a lot, you know.
That historically, that has helped him. The bonus shifter too, and it's not he's getting tugged around; it's he's given more.
Yes.
So, you know, old school mentality is when you're not playing well, they take from you. You know, they take shifts away. They'd move you down the lineup till you start to play well. Then they move you back up the lineup. I think new school mentality is like, hey, give a little more. You know, like give more opportunity to work through it. A different look with line mates.
A Kirill fourth line shift is awesome too.
Yeah, that's what he's getting. He's getting a bonus 4th line.
I just love it. I love it.
A shift with Boldy from time to time. Like he's getting bonus shifts.
He gets the out of the penalty kill shift. He'll be fine. He looks when it looks like he's working hard. I think that isn't great for when he's at his best, feeling his best.
Yeah, I agree.
Now I pay way too much attention to this guy, by the way, but I just notice it. I can tell like it just doesn't look quite right.
Yeah.
I wanted to. So on Quinn, I was going to ask you, does he kill penalties?
No,
and never has.
I don't know about never has.
Because I was noticing
killer.
Makar does.
Yeah,
and I was just thinking I didn't know if that was something he did in Vancouver, and now he's coming over here, and they're just taking a minute to have him figure that out. But okay, that's good.
I think it's more that they just want to use him
offensively.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is he's good at playing defense, but he's not a PK guy. Okay, I just didn't know.
I mean, he's playing 27 minutes a night.
Yeah,
sometimes. So they'd prefer to use those 27 minutes, not short,
to help him get offense.
Yes,
correct. That's great. So this week, looking ahead, we got the Preds on Tuesday. I think that's a really that's almost your classic Christmas game. You know, I think the Wild historically have done a great job of kind of these New Year's Eve against Detroit. It seems like we always played Detroit on New Year's Eve for 10 years. If you want to go, warm your hands on the Yule log, it's going to be the Preds game on Tuesday. Then the NHL does this very NHL, very country music to close the doors for the 3 days around the holiday. And then it's at Jets on Saturday. That'll be a big one. Hellebuck's back. And at Vegas on Monday. So no rest for the winning, as they say.
Yeah, and maybe the most notable thing is I think important for morale still to get this game going into the holiday break against Nashville, team that you absolutely should beat. But Nashville's been playing better, so the Wild have to be careful not to just think that they're going to coast through that one and have themselves a Merry Christmas after that. Then coming out of the break is the World Junior Tournament comes to town, and it is a monster road trip.
Yeah.
So it's 14 days.
Are you on it?
No. It starts with day of travel to Winnipeg on the 27th.
Then to Vegas.
Then San Jose, LA, Anaheim, Seattle, home, 14 days.
No way.
Yes.
So they leave on the bird and they don't come back for 2 weeks?
27th day of.
Man.
So that's a monster trip.
Wow. A lot of ladies with small little kids trying to manage that. That's a long time to be gone.
It is. So the Wild have had a couple. They had just come back from like an 8 or 9 dayer through Western Canada. So going west.
This is the longest road trip in franchise history?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, they'll come together one way or another. I mean, all that time together.
Yeah, and it is going to be a great trip. They've
maybe
got
get some
time,
golf in.
Yeah,
maybe?
They've got some time in Southern California. It's crazy because they go LA. It's not back to back, but it's almost like a college series. 2 games in a row in LA. So they play LA, go back to the hotel, practice day in LA, then play LA again.
Oh, what a fun trip that would be as a fan.
Yeah, then they go to Anaheim from there with a couple
Man,
days.
that's tasty. You could just camp out, swing the wrenches for 5 days out of 7, and watch 3 Wild games. And man, maybe someone will give that as a Christmas gift. If my wife is listening, that would be great. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm trying to think what else I had for you.
Well, let's get to trivia. We got to get this in. The fans love it. They love it. I love it. You love it.
I don't love it. It makes me have a lot of anxiety. All right.
Gilman's
So, like, do
on
you
the
like?
today.
Are you like currently getting nervous again now? You're like, son of a biscuit.
The reason I don't like this is because it's not that I'm going to be a little worse than you. I can be embarrassingly bad at this. And so it's like it's like someone saying, "Can you fly the plane?" And I'm like, "No. I don't know what any of these knobs do." So it's a very uncomfortable position. And I think all the Wild players I know from the past we've already done.
All right, we ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. This player was drafted by the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, that's not going to narrow it down much.
This player has played for 5 teams in the NHL and is still active. This player grew up playing roller hockey, but didn't hit the ice until he was 9 years old.
I'm gonna ring in
Oh,
Brent Burns.
Incorrect.
I'm going to ring in and say that it's Jason Zucker.
Ding ding ding.
That is correct.
Roller hockey.
Big win.
Wow.
That was a good one.
That's like me being.
That was early. You didn't even need to ring in. You could have been like,
he's from Vegas, so that helped me. This is like me beating Nashville on Tuesday. Like I'm going into the holiday
feeling good. High
feeling
step.
good. I wanted to give you something back though.
I want to see how many teams Brent Burns played for. Zucker, great dude, good
Yeah.
player, still active. That's the one that got me. Wild, San Jose, Carolina, Colorado. So 4 teams.
Hey, what do you think about Charlie Coyle coming back to the Wild?
I've thought that.
I heard you on the broadcast, and I was thinking the exact same thing. The fact that guy's about to get to 1,000 games, but doesn't he seem like he's like 10 years younger than everyone else that's at 1,000 games?
Yes.
And maybe because he's like never
Still
been
young,
hurt.
Charlie.
Well, him and Zucker were, the reason I thought of him was him and Zucker were like a buddy cop movie. You know, they were like the original Deweys, when they were here. Those guys were together all the time. Yeah, so you checking to make sure that they didn't mess up the question? Is that what you're literally looking at? This is like a coach's challenge.
But I am looking into how many teams Burns played for because it was right around that, drafted by the Wild, but he didn't play for 5. He's only played for 4. Minnesota, San Jose, Carolina.
Oh, you're seeing if
Colorado.
he played for 5. I get
Yeah.
it. Hey, just a couple little random things at the end. I love that you shouted out a U12 team right at puck drop on a broadcast. Also, the Ovechkin photo with you where you got to like humble brag and you beat him. Like, that's awesome. Who did you that solid? Did they just like say, hey, we're going to put a picture of you and Ovechkin on the intro? I mean, that's a great experience to have that happen. And then my last thing is the smelling salts on the blocker with Wally, where he puts it on a table. He puts the smelling salt on a blocker for the other guys. It's like an end table. I mean, this is FanDuel, man. Thank you. Those are some, when you're at home, sometimes it can be just as good as being at the rink when you get those bonus shots.
Yeah. So what was the first one?
First one was shouting out U12A.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that was Steph AU because he did Let's Play Hockey.
So Minnesota, though, just so great. And then
we played his, well, we talked about this, but at the Cake Eater, Steph AU had the 12, we dined a 12A team just buzzing to start this game. Like, it was 3-0 before we had the sleep out of our eyes. I mean, he can get a team going. So Let's Play Hockey, Steph AU, he crushed that one,
and
too.
he did get him going.
Yeah, got him going right out of the gate. So it worked.
That was great. The other one I liked from you was when Eriksson Ek was trying to get a double minor, and you said, there's no way he's going to bleed. He's got too much scar tissue from being face washed for a decade. I got a couple texts about that one. So we are listening, Mr. Carter.
Yeah. The OV one was World Championships, I think 2013 or something like that. Yeah, it was in the semifinal, so U.S. versus Russia.
Send him home.
Sent him home. See you later.
Single file.
Right out the door.
No Fiji water.
Nope.
Just straight
Just
back home.
Punishment, bus, hotel, pack, plane, home. Cost those guys. No, I think the Russians give great bonuses when they win international medals.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. So they were
Oh,
probably
yeah.
all
I think you
riled.
get
They
a
were-
car.
Yeah, they were thinking about their new Mercedes S-Class, and instead,
Instead, they ran into a man named Ryan Carter.
instead
And you really wish you
instead
smiled.
we had to pose. Yeah, why didn't I smile? What
If
an
you
idiot.
smiled, if actually don't smile, smirk. If you could have been smirking,
Just give
like
it to Hartman.
the Hartman complimenting Ovi, like, hey guy, I know you lost today. I know it's a big deal for your country, but I think you're going to be a good player in the NHL.
Yeah.
Ovechkin would just two-hand him during the photo.
And then the last one, smelling salts off the blocker, knock your block off. Yeah, that was impressive.
It's fun.
I also, let's not forget, he's the backup goaltender.
Yeah, just why are you doing smelling salt? He's trying to stay awake. He does seem to have like an iPad or something.
Wouldn't that be something? In his blocker, he just has a tablet. That'd be Brizgalov-like.
Yeah, that's dangerous. I have a whole thing I want to do, but we'll do it on a different episode. I'll give you a little teaser. I want to think of like hockey players like almost like a chessboard, because I think you can divide up the type of player. Like, is someone a wizard? Is someone a warrior? Like there's like guys can move
Pawn,
different.
rook, queen, king.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be exactly like a chessboard, but I just find myself watching these games thinking, a Matt Boldy's a different type of player because of PK, power play, and all this stuff. And then you have like a Quinn and a Kirill.
It's like Pokemon cards.
Yes, like they have different powers. I think it would take like an hour to do, and I think listeners might just drive off the road into the ditch. But if you feel like if we're really slow, like we're on like a 5-game losing streak, just be like, hey, Kinger, let's talk about the warrior wizard thing you were going to do. Bring in some Pokemon cards. Do you have anything else you want to share?
No.
What are your holiday plans? What's the program for the Carter household?
Yeah, we're in town here, so
Hosting or
no.
Okay, so you go to some family and
The matriarch and patriarchs host Christmas.
how do you do the Eve Christmas thing? Are there multiple events, or do you just do Christmas Day and you're at home with your family on one of them?
Both days are programmed heavily.
Okay, so you're going places and doing stuff both days. That's good.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's a blast. But
good.
yeah, and then the last one on that is we'll try to get a skate or something as a family outside, or we'll go
Rink's
play
in good
food
shape?
hockey. Pretty good shape. The weather's not been great for
Yeah,
it
this week looks a little challenging.
because the weather's hot.
Yeah, it's going to get warmer.
Yeah. So and there has been snow and rain and warmth and then deep cold. So we've kind of been chasing the ice sheet, but it's doing all right.
That's good. And what's the youth hockey update? How's the squad? You got anything over the holiday, or are you off?
Off on the holiday. I think there's a tournament, the Youth Hockey Hub tournament, Dangle Fest, coming up around
Ooh,
the New Year.
that's a
That's a
big
fun
one.
one. But hosting the 10U squad tonight for their holiday party. So
At the house?
yeah, there will be like 15.
What are you bringing in
10-year-olds
for food?
ripping
You
around.
Catering something? You got like Donatelli's?
Jimmy John's.
Jimmy. And then you cut them up into the minis? All the bags of chips. Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
That's a really good option
Nothing
for
like
teams.
Cheeto fingers or barbecue chip fingers all over the furniture right before Christmas.
That's not good. Freaky
We'll take
fast.
it.
Freaky fast.
Capri Sun, by the way, for any of you wondering, it's Capri Suns to drink because you can't tip them over. They don't spill. And if they do spill, it's clear. You're good.
Kirill Kaprizov.
Yes.
Okay, good to know. All right, we have a Minnesota icon in the house with us. As always, this guest is sponsored by Buchanan. Earn your clean. Work harder, smell better. Head into your Target, get some body wash, get some of these soaps. They do the holidays really well with fun stuff. Maybe you need some Santa's pipe smoke brick of soap. This is a tan gentleman. He's looking good. He's probably got lotion. He's probably using conditioner. He's not doing that 2-in-1 stuff. Jack Jablonski, a great man. You know his story probably already. You know the foundation, but he's doing a lot of other interesting things, and he's going to be doing some fun stuff for us. So, Jack, welcome to the program.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
So, Jack, for listeners, we're trying to be better connected to the state of hockey as a whole. So, youth hockey, high school hockey. So, we're going to check in with Jack from time to time. He's almost going to be our correspondent on all things the state of hockey. But before we get into that, why don't you just give us an update? What's going on with you? What have you been up to, foundation and otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long journey since I think everything went down in Minnesota almost 14 years ago, which is crazy to say out loud. But, since obviously you go back to the beginning ages of post-injury, went out to college at USC, graduated from the University of Southern California, was interning for the Los Angeles Kings for 5 years during college. Then went on to start working for the Kings full-time for 5 years in the content media department. And that came to an end in August. I moved on and have started up in terms of my own content media career in the process of doing some stuff with you guys in the wild. And, we'll see where things go in terms of the future. But on to a new chapter. Very excited to be on to the independent world, and we'll see where things go. So great to be here.
How much do we need to unpack this Kings thing? Now, you did a decade. I mean, are you damaged? Are you confused? Or can you come right back into the Minnesota Wild? Did you always leave a little spot open? Or, I mean, what?
It was always there. You had to suppress it, especially publicly when you're working. It was always a tough time when the teams were playing each other. I was just hoping for overtime so that everyone could kind of come away at least a little bit happy with the extra point. So it was tough because, especially you go into last year where both teams are leading, halfway through the series, and both teams were on a path to collide, which would have been in many ways a great thing, but also like my worst nightmare because you've got a lot of drama internally where like every time the Wild score, you're like fist pumping underneath the desk. And then every time the Kings score, you're trying to act like you're happy for them, even though you're like, let's go Wild underneath. So it was tough. But I mean, again, when you look at the opportunity that I was given with the Kings, I'm very, very fortunate to have spent a decade with them. And, you move on and then you move forward, but it was a phenomenal experience. I was able to take a huge step forward in my career and build out a platform that has allowed me to move forward.
We got to talk about a couple of the guys on the roster that have been on the roster for the Kings a long time. Because one of them's kind of, I would say, Kirill Kaprizov, public enemy number one. That's Drew Doughty.
Yeah, he was a big hater to start the year, or to start his career.
Yeah, his career. And I still feel like when they're on the ice together, like there's kind of like Kirill hasn't forgot. Doughty still wants to get after him. What's Drew Doughty like off the ice?
Drew's a great guy. He's totally, the guy that kind of holds that locker room together in terms of the personality and when he walks in the room, everyone kind of looks at him and, to get the vibe and the feel of what's going on. And, off the ice, away from the game, just a great guy, always laughing, missing teeth, drinking beers at the local bars and stuff like that. So he's a great guy, but you're absolutely right. It was funny because that blew up it was a preseason interview after the COVID year. And he just was like, they were talking about stars throughout the league for all these, preseason interviews on, for just regular bits when they play the team, right? What do you think of Sidney Crosby? And they'll play that before the Pittsburgh game. And he just like off the cuff was like, little too soon, a little overrated to get that contract, and it blew up. And obviously, like you mentioned, Carts, everybody remembered it on both sides. And obviously he has that mean streak and competitive nature on the ice, so no question. And Kirill really did have Drew's number to start the year. There were multiple games, I think, in that COVID season, because we were in the same division based on the formatting, and they played each other 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And
There were some memorable games too.
Oh, yeah, well, it was to start Kirill's career.
Yeah, got his first goal.
Yeah, first goal, overtime winner, and then I think another game winner. He set up Johansson for the overtime winner the next game. So no question, it kind of built that little bit of a player-to-player rivalry, and it's definitely carried on.
The Kings, got to give them credit. Their third jerseys back in the day, those purple ones. Do you remember the OT game? Who scored the winner? It might have been Dumba
with like a 0.2 seconds.
Here, that was
on
here.
Cal Peterson of all people too.
Yeah, who's now a member of the Wild.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that game had so many cool kind of feelings with it because it was the Kings in those old school purple jerseys. It was like the 78s, or maybe they were called something different at that time, but it was like the North Star jerseys, LA Kings,
it was 8-7 or something.
And I think it was on Hockey Day too.
Yeah, it was like 8-7 or 7-6.
It was a high scoring affair.
Yeah, no question. And I think because that was the year where everyone had the throwback jerseys, and by far the Kings ones and the Wild ones were
the best.
Two of the top 2 or 3. I think maybe a Nordiques one was in there too or something, but both of them were phenomenal. And that game definitely reminiscent of the old days, especially on the scoreboard.
I know the second player you're going to ask about.
Well, he's probably my favorite player.
The Patrice Bergeron that no one thinks is Patrice Bergeron.
West Coast Patrice, yeah.
Anze Kopitar. This is going to be his last year. Like how good is this guy?
He's phenomenal, and I think you ask about Drew Doughty off the ice, Kopitar off the ice, and I've gotten to know him and his family and his wife are the nicest people, just the most caring people. And when you talk about on the ice of who Kopi is he very much is a version of Patrice Bergeron, and the West Coast bias is unfortunate because he doesn't necessarily get the national credit he deserves. I think after announcing his retirement earlier in the season, he's at least gotten a little bit more recognition because everyone's kind of appreciating what he has done for both the Kings organization, but just what he's done in his 20-year career. And for him, the offense has slowed down over the last year and change, but his value and what he's been able to do, they just traded away Philippe Deneau because Kopi is still producing at this level, and they've obviously got Quentin Byfield, who's a budding star on the horizon. So what Kopitar has done on the ice is something that unfortunately doesn't get enough credit, but by all means, he's definitely appreciated where he is.
He's got 1,300 points.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. He's won 2 cups. You barely know him. He's probably won, he might be like all time in terms of face-off wins. I'd have to look that up. Won a couple of Lady Bings, couple of Selkies, and you just never talk about the guy, but he's just a pure winner. I can remember, my career started at the same time his did. We had like a rookie tournament in LA at like their practice facility.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
it's one of the the ones that you have here. Yeah, we have one out there with the West Coast teams. Yeah, obviously you were in Anaheim, right?
Yep. And I was super naive. I didn't know anything about anybody, nothing. But we get to town and there's all this chatter about this Kopitar kid. And I'm like, whatever.
I'll show you.
Yeah, more or less. Like, I didn't know. He had like a tinted visor and everything on. Like,
wild hair.
Yeah.
I think it was like frosted tips or bleached.
Yeah. It's like,
great choice. Great choice.
This guy, I'm going to get him. And it
he
turns
may have
out,
made your all hockey hair team at that point.
That's good. That's good.
And all he did was score and control the play. And then next thing you know, he's in the NHL playing against him for years. The guy's just completely dynamite. But I have an appreciation for Kopitar. I used to bust his chops because I thought he was like an insomniac because it was like dark around his eyes. He had the dark visor. I was like, are you allergic to the sunlight?
Yeah, he's got like jaundice or something.
Yeah,
what's going over there? And
he's in the yellow lamp. I was going to ask you, you got to have had some celebrity encounters, right? You're in La La Land. You got the Hollywood sign, City of Angels, Chili Peppers, all the things. Give me your favorite. You've been there. You were a decade in L.A.
Yeah.
So give me your I'm at a cocktail party and I get to talk about my experience. Who are some of the celebs that you interacted with and maybe some of the stories of that?
Yeah. So you start with Will Ferrell, who's a super fan of the Kings. He's got season tickets right on the glass. He, throughout the season, whether it's in the playoffs or random games, will just dress up in character or will just paint it. Oh, yeah. Like, he'll come to the Kings game and his face was painted in checkerboards. And, one of the games, he just decided he just wears wild stuff, brings his family or friends and stuff like that. So he sits on the board and, the Kings do a great job of appreciating him and recognizing him at all the games. He'll be up on the big screen, especially when you get down in the third period and you need the crowd to make noise, and they'll throw him up there and he'll start screaming at the jumbotron and stuff like that. But so Will Ferrell's a great one. You run into LeBron every once in a while.
Just because he's there, or
no,
he goes to the
he's
games?
been to a few random games, not many. I think R.I.P. Kobe. He was definitely someone that I ran into, and being the last 14 years, I've been fortunate to be in the media or meet a lot of people that have been celebrities and very famous. I rarely get starstruck. Kobe was the only time where I was like, just like shocked by the aura that he had around him and the just the celebrity status that he.
What was he like?
I didn't talk to him a ton, but he was just the nicest guy. Like one of those type of people who, I think you find celebrities who don't want to deal with some of the people and the publicity, and he had the time for everybody and was very, comforting and happy to talk to anybody who came up to him. Jessica Alba, you took your breath away.
Yeah, I probably
speechless.
Yeah, you could hear it.
I'd probably be starstruck there as well.
Yeah, so it's it's a constant. Every single day we get a celebrity list that's 14 people long, and unfortunately, as the years go on, it just becomes more and more TikTok stars and people that I've never even heard of, and I'm like, are these? We're gonna count these people as celebrities and stuff like that, but it's
Kurt Russell's one of yours, right? Is he a LA King fan? Kurt?
Yeah.
He's
Kurt
a
Russell,
hardcore hockey guy.
Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks.
That's right. Yep, those are the legit. Like
Steve Carell is a big Kings fan.
Nice.
Maybe a former goalie, I believe. But
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a handful, but there's every single day there's notable stars that are either down by the glass in the background or up in suite levels. Justin Bieber as well.
Oh, the Biebs.
Yeah, the Biebs, especially when Toronto's in town.
Yeah. Well, tell us what you're working on now. You're kind of doing your own thing, and it's what are you into?
Yeah, it's kind of in a little bit of a figuring out stage, but life is now in the media in terms of covering hockey, finding areas that, when I was with the Kings, I did about 7-8 different things that were editorial writing, podcasting, TV, interviewing, a lot of those different types of jobs. And now that it's, that chapter has passed, it's kind of come down to an area where I'm in the process of just narrowing it down, focusing on where I want to continue my career. And that's, doing some more podcasting, more media, being in front of a camera or a microphone. And that's where the opportunities are lying. So the timing with how everything ended in the Kings area was unfortunate because it was right before the season. So on the back foot to start the season in terms of, finding full-time opportunities. But right now in the conversations and negotiations with a handful of different obviously the Wild are one, but at the same time, different media organizations. So super excited to continue throughout the season moving forward. Obviously, we'll be joining you guys from time to time, and as well as joining the Wild broadcast here and there, both on radio and potentially some TV segments.
Yeah, you got a big opportunity coming up here this week.
Yeah.
You're doing color on radio, if I'm not mistaken.
Stepping in for the legendary Tom Reed. We'll be doing some color with Joe O'Donnell for the Nashville game on Tuesday. So very excited. I did a handful of games with the Kings as well, so not necessarily new to it, but definitely new to joining the hometown team, which is a very special honor. Obviously, having grown up, watching you and the decades of hockey that I grew up on in the early 2000s, it's a very special opportunity, and I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, are you nervous at all?
I think I'm nervous just to begin. Once you kind of get into the game, it just becomes natural.
Yeah, you're just talking hockey.
Exactly. You're just watching and talking. But as you prepare for it, and you don't want to overthink it, but obviously just getting everything ready for the game, and realizing the magnitude of being able to come home and be able to jump on the air is a pretty special thing.
Well, should we put our toe in the water? We're going to be more well-versed on the state of hockey when we have our correspondent coming back. I'm a little ahead of Carter on this, I think, just because I've dabbled with it. So we'll start this way. This is just putting our toe in the water, right? So Here's what I think is happening with boys high school hockey. As a 51-year-old empty nester that's around hockey but not in it.
Oh, you're in it.
So this Moorhead team seems to have this is my favorite narrative. If I have this right, all these kids sprinkled off to Canada and Detroit, and then they were like, hold on, let's go back and kick everyone's ass again with the little Cullen, Joey Cullen. So that's interesting. But at the same time, I'm hearing Hill Murray is loaded. Mark Strobel's building a powerhouse in St. Thomas. I've heard Minnetonka is very good. So I get excited. Last year we had this wonderful tournament with Moorhead and Stillwater and all these good teams. Mason West. Rogers got to their first straight tournament. So when you're looking at the top 10 or you're trying to maybe circle a few things for our listeners, what excites you about the state of hockey right now?
Yeah, well, I think you mentioned kind of those top 4 teams right now, and that's Moorhead, St. Thomas, Minnetonka, and Hill Murray. And I think what's so interesting when you look at those top 4 teams specifically is you've got 2 senior goaltenders who are very well established and very much on the cusp of heading into future junior leagues and into college hockey. And then you've got the other 2 teams who have freshman goalies, which is a pretty remarkable thing when you talk about competing for a state championship, especially at the AA level. But, we had Minnetonka and Moorhead play this past weekend, and Moorhead's number 1, Minnetonka was number 2, and Minnetonka outshot Moorhead 2-1 and doubled them up on the scoreboard. But it's a great time to be a part of high school hockey. Obviously, it was great with the Mason West recognition from a national perspective, giving credit to the model that Minnesota State High School League has within high school hockey. And right now, you talk about the Moorhead dynasty with the Little Cullen and some of those returners that were sprinkled out in Michigan and the WHL and the USHL. By all means, that team is on track to be right back in it when it comes to repeating.
Who has the freshman goalies and who has the senior goalies?
Yeah, so the senior goalies are Minnetonka and Hill Murray. You've got Chase Jurdy, who's been off to a great start at Hill Murray, and then Minnetonka, and then Hill Murray. You've got Angie. So it's one of those areas where you've got to be under the impression that those 2 teams are definitely going to be under more confidence with the senior goaltenders, and then St. Thomas Academy and Moorhead have the freshman goalies. So very intriguing storyline for sure heading into the middle of the season.
I can only imagine being the parent of a freshman goaltender on like a top 5 team in the state.
God. Horrible.
Like the parent of a freshman goaltender.
You are not sitting with the other parents.
I don't know. I actually don't know that there would be a more stressful title than I am the dad or mother of this freshman goaltender for St. Thomas or,
So if this doesn't work out, here's our home address. Yeah. It's just, that's a lot of pressure.
Well, what I will say is, and Carts, you can probably, relate to this as well as anybody too, is you go from playing the game and there was never, whether it's overtime or a 1-goal game in a high intensity atmosphere, you're not nervous playing the game. And I coached the Junior Kings and we won a national championship over Shattuck one year and went to the national championship another year. As a coach who's not playing, and obviously I'm not on the bench either, I'm up top, nervous as anybody.
Yeah.
Like I was just on pins and needles watching the whole game, and you never understood it when your parents are up in the stands being like, oh, I was so nervous. You're like, what do you mean? Now it's just one of those things where you're like, I have no control over this.
Yeah.
I'm just along for the ride, and I absolutely hate this journey.
It's all about control. Like, I think when you're playing, you have this like little bit of belief that, hey, like you're the one doing it. You can still maybe score the goal or, find a way to help the comeback. But when you're just spectating, even coaching is the same. You're right. Because you're still in the meat grinder as a coach. Like, you're on the bench, like, you're motivating, you're making calls, you're changing lines, you're doing all that. But still, you're like, you can't get out there and play. And it is more nerve-wracking being behind the bench than sitting on it, for sure. But
yeah, no question.
You have any sleepers, or like, obviously it seems like we've got this kind of, the power four maybe. Any team you're kind of like, you know what? Don't sleep on these guys.
Well, you mentioned Stillwater and what they were able to do last season. They upset Hill Murray in the section finals and then went on to the state championship. They're right there again. They're ranked 5th in the state, and that's a team that has already beaten St. Thomas earlier this season. So no question, they've got a solid team. They're led by Captain Tate Batchelor, who's a junior defenseman. He's got a very bright future ahead of him, and someone that has clearly shown that he's taken a huge step forward. He had 23 points last season. He's already up to 20 points this season with a bigger opportunity, and a team that has absolutely been there, done that, and is knocking on the door again.
So that was a rematch of last year's semifinal, right? Didn't Stillwater play St. Thomas in the semifinal last year? I think it was Zanin versus Strobel.
I'm still thinking about the name
St.
Tate
Thomas
Batchelor.
played Moorhead, but I was at the game.
I wish my name was Tate Batchelor.
But how about individuals in high school hockey? Is there, an early Mr. Hockey kind of race right now? And
Nash Road, for instance. I mean, just off the top of my head.
Go Bears.
Go Bears. Yeah, we've got a handful of them up top. And for me, I think, it starts with the St. Thomas cadet in Cole Bronshausen. He's someone that's on the radar in terms of, making those next steps, whether it's, being on the draft boards or wherever it may be. But Bronshausen is a phenomenal player. He's leading all AA scorers right now in the league with 30 points through 10 games. And it's one thing when you're and I don't mean this in terms of talking about some of the teams up north where you have a few of those point nights for on some lesser teams. Obviously, being able to do it at St. Thomas on a little bit of a tougher schedule, averaging 3 points a game is a heck of a feat. And then on top of that, you've got Cole Baumgartner from Rogers, who's a heck of a player. And for me, I was playing 10, 15 years ago at Benilde. He'll you look at the opportunity and the times that Benilde had, it's kind of flipped in terms of some of the Catholic schools. Holy Angels has 2 very good players, and in Lincoln Ayers, Assad, and Cole Cheeseman as well. So those are probably the top 4 guys. They've all been producing at a high rate. They've all got 20-something points at least. So those are the 4 seniors that I would definitely tout as people who are going to be on that desk when it comes to Mr. Hockey.
John would like to throw out an underclassman here.
No, I'm just saying, name your children Cole, apparently, and they'll be a very good hockey player. Yeah, we got Nash Road in there, too.
Ryan Marquardt with the Bears is off to a good start, too.
Who's the other one?
Ryan Marquardt.
Okay, let's give the
2
Bears.
goals. So Bears just lost to Hill Murray 3-2 in a good game, and D-Man Marquardt had 2 goals in that game.
That's not the game you want to win anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, you want to lose the regular season, win the postseason.
They set the fireworks off too early at Hockey Day. I mean, there's a lot of things to unpack here. But, well, hey, man, we're going to love I think this will be great for our listeners, too, just to get a little bit of that. You can be our senator of the state of hockey. I think we should probably get an email or something set up for him where our listeners can pop him with stories or, check this out or keep an eye on this, and you can get constant stuff from the field. But great work you're obviously doing with the foundation. Anything you want to give an update on that in terms of how that's going?
Yeah, absolutely. For anyone who doesn't know, I have my own nonprofit foundation called the Jack Jablonski Foundation. We raise money for spinal cord injury research. I've been very fortunate to partner with the Wild for some of our events. We had our gala with the Wild November 1st, was able to raise $300,000 for research. On top of that, we've had some promising results in what we've been able to fund so far. Taking people like myself who have a little bit less dexterity on their body to be able to have more of the ability to be independent, to do things, to grab water bottles on our own and be able to function. I think anybody who is in a wheelchair, the first thing you obviously notice is our inability to walk. But I think if you ask anybody like myself what you want back, it's not necessarily that on the first list or the first thing on your list. It's to have more independence, to be able to do things on your own more. It improves the quality of life, and that's what the foundation is about, improving the quality of life for those living with spinal cord injuries. You can visit jablonskifoundation.org for more information or to donate, and we'll be very happy to help welcome you as a believer. So it's been a great journey. The foundation turns 13 years old on December 30th, on the unfortunate year that the anniversary that I was injured. But, honestly, I've been very fortunate post-injury and very thankful for all the support, both personally and from a foundation perspective.
Well, thank you for what you've done. I mean, you turned a really horrible thing into a really positive thing. So thank you for everybody that you've helped with that and continue to push for change in that area. Anything else, Karts?
I don't. Other than before we get you out of here, you took in the Wild Avalanche game last night too.
Yes.
Have you been to a couple games, or is that your first of the year?
First, I was at the November 1 game for our event, but that was the first game that I've actually been able to watch from start to finish live. Obviously, you've caught every game on TV. But.
So you got your eyes on the Wild with Quinn Hughes. What'd you think?
Oh, I think Quinn is, of course we know how great of a player he is, but I think he makes the Wild better in so many different situations. For me, you look at where the Wild have struggled in terms of, having to dump and chase a little bit more without him. Now you have the ability to get zone entries and zone exits at a higher rate, which is, again, more time on the puck is the better. So, Quinn, I think, makes his team drastically better. Maybe they're a piece or two away still. We'll see what Billy G does. But I think, he turns this team into a solid competitor. The franchise has never had a guy like Quinn in terms of an offensive producer on the blue line. So no question, you give it 5, 10, 15 games, and we'll see what happens as they build the chemistry. Of course, the power play will be great. It'll be nice to see a few more zone entries come in cleanly, as that they've struggled throughout the season so far. But overall, Quinn brings a lot to this team that they didn't have and could use in terms of improving towards being a Stanley Cup contender, and they've absolutely entered the chat.
I like it.
I like that. The Wild have entered the chat. Yes, they have. Well, hey, man, thanks so much for coming out and hanging out with us for a bit. We'll be checking in with Jack throughout the year on all things state of hockey, boys and girls, by the way, youth and high school. So thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I look forward to the future.
Yeah, thanks, Jack.
Well, hey, guys. Hey, everyone have a happy holidays. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a full house and enjoy our Wild. Let's go get Nashville. We're here.
Till it's here.